Thanks for joining us. Now, a 28-year-old Ajwa Osua is currently in the custody of the Assin Fosu police for allegedly recruiting 4 teenage girls to hawk plantain chips in Accra without the knowledge of their parents. According to the Assin Fosu District Police Commander Superintendent Magnus Sam, the victims, Judith Bwampong, 13, Comfort Arthur, 15, Mercy Cranche, 15, and Hannah Sam, aged 18, were intercepted by the police in collaboration with their parents and residents of the community.
A certain lady by name Ajwa Osua, 28 years, who is selling some small chops at Nyankumasi MA Primary School, that she has started recruiting some girls for some job in Accra. When we had the information, we worked on the information only for today at about 6:30 a.m. that we heard that she had successfully recruited them and she was about to escort them to Accra. So we went in, apprehended her, Osua, 28 years. And after interrogating the children confirmed that she didn't inform any of their parents. Therefore, their parents are not aware that they are about to move to Accra. The suspect was also interrogated, and she also confirmed that she has not informed any of their parents. So she has been apprehended, and therefore investigation is ongoing. After investigation, she will be put before court for further action.
Suspect Ajwa Osua, who spoke to our Doom News' Alfred Amo, explained that she had no malicious intention, but only intended to help the girls gain employment.
My sister sells plantain chips in Accra. She asked me to recruit some girls to help her in her trade. I saw one girl and proposed the idea to her. School number best 1 o'clock. No, my semen for my name said there be Munim Homunguta Fonso. She agreed and brought her friend with their luggage. I told them to come later so I would take them to Fosu and buy bus tickets for them to go to Accra. They came back at dawn. No, monsieur, no more coin. Until I matching or I met you at the Nanklane buyer. So more by my way or Marco. Now, Miss Mayard into a monko. Form a bag and no congo baby. It is at the chance 7 o'clock. And I told them I was busy, so they should be patient and come in the morning. After they left, their parents came to me and I admitted I should have asked permission from the parents before attempting to bring them to Accra. The police later came and arrested me.
Now, the children also explained they agreed to go and see greener pastures in Accra due to lack of parental care in the village.
I don't like going to school. I have changed school twice. My mother died and was buried just this Tuesday. So after the burial, I told my sister and she agreed to go with me. She told us the woman will give us 150 cedis allowance every month and feed us too. She told us not to tell anyone about the journey to Accra. My mother is dead. My father has abandoned me. So I live with my grandparents. No one takes care of my education. My teacher used to supply books for studies until she could no more afford. I don't even have a school uniform. I was going to school in my house dress.
Now, away from that issue, National Security Minister Albert Kandapa is to be summoned before Parliament over a planned counter-terrorism simulation exercise scheduled for this weekend. Director of Counter-Terrorism at the Ministry of National Security, COP George Esiama, retired, announced at a media briefing on Tuesday that the exercise, codenamed Exercise Home Shield, will mimic real-life professional scenarios for an assessment of the country's counter-terrorism response. Minority spokesperson on Foreign Affairs Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa says Parliament deserves a briefing on the exercise, which he describes as a laudable one. Majority Leader Osechi Mensah-Bonsu says leadership will work on getting the minister to come brief MPs. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo joins us from Parliament with details. Joseph, what was the majority's reaction to the call by Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa?
Well, they think that it's in order. In fact, it was during question time. The majority leader briefed the House on the planned outline activities for next week, which would include summoning about 6 different ministers to come respond to 17 different questions on the floor. And so after the majority leader briefed the House on the plan for next week, there was the time for questions, and North-Tong MP Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa told the House that he had read of media reports quoting COP George Esiama retired, and the announcement that he had made that this particular counter-terrorism exercise would be coming off this weekend. And he commended the idea of holding this counter-terrorism and simulation exercise. But then his point was that as representatives of the people, they deserved a briefing on what exactly this exercise is about and why it has become necessary around this time. Although he felt that it was a laudable idea, the majority leader responded and indicated that, well, again, the representatives of the people, really need to know about this particular exercise, and so he supports the idea, and so he will be making the necessary arrangements with the Minister for National Security so that then they would get him to come brief the House, most likely at a closed session, which would be without the media nor members of the public present, because this is an issue of national security. So they'll be looking forward to doing that sometime next week.
Right. And now, Joseph, what else has been happening in the House? So
the Minister for Roads and Highways is currently in the chamber. That's Mr. Amwakwata. He is responding to specific constituency questions about road construction in areas like the Tamale area, in areas like the Kumbungu area, and he's been given assurances. There was also a question that was put to him by the Member of Parliament for the Adaklo constituency. You'd recall that there's been some controversy over government's decision to halt a number of the ongoing road projects from the previous administration to allow for a review and for some investigations to take place. There was a question to him from the Adaklu MP, Kwame Aboja, about how far they've gone with the review of those contracts so that then the road works can resume. He indicated that the committee that was established to do the review has completed its work. A report has been submitted to his office, and the ministry is reviewing the report that's been brought to their desk so that then they would be making further announcements on what the way forward will be as far as those road projects that are being undertaken by the previous administration that's been halted by this current regime is concerned.
So, Joseph, from what you're telling us, the minister has disclosed that the review is over. He just has to look at the report.
Yeah, so let me quote him in the statement that he delivered to Parliament a while ago. He makes the point that the Ministry of Roads and Highways had been undertaking what he describes as a comprehensive review of all projects in its portfolio. The ministry and its road agencies are also discussing any challenges that have been affecting the output of contractors who are working on those projects, including delays in payments, difficulty in assessing credit facilities, and also inadequate contractor capacity. That's the final part of the response that he gave. He said that the overall objective of the review is to achieve value for money on the project and ensure that contract payments are adequately covered by the road and also the consolidated fund. He says, and I'm quoting him directly, he says, the review has been completed by the working team and the recommendations are being studied for implementation. Those are the specific words that he delivered to Parliament a while ago.
And did he get any response from the minority when he said that?
Well, we will be getting that. He's still on the floor responding to other questions relating to work that's ongoing on a number of roads in the Sandema area and also in the BC area, all in the northern parts of the country. And so we're expecting him to provide those additional details once he's done with the further questioning on those specific road projects on the floor of the House.
No word on the Buipe and the Yape bridges which have been closed down?
Not yet. That hasn't come up for discussion yet. It's not one of the items that has been listed, which the minister is responding to questions in relation to. And so that hasn't actually come up yet. Right.
Thank you very much, Joseph Opokugapo, for that report. He's our man in Parliament. Now, moving on, a female farmer at Assin Edubiase and a finalist in the upcoming National Farmers' Day celebration, Faustina Asamoah, is alleged to have been dropped from the final list to be awarded at Kumasi on December 1 after refusing to pay a 5,000 cedi bribe to organizers of the program. According to the farmer based in Assin South, she received an email from one Mr. Bofa, who is one of the central regional coordinators of the program, which included her name as one of the winners. Shortly after the message, another person called to demand 5,000 cedis from her, threatening to remove her from the list if she does not comply. She said, sensing foul play, she refused to send the money. Surprisingly, she received another message after the telephone call apologizing for the earlier message sent because she was not supposed to be on the winners list.
Award no Maji district, Maji region.
I have already received a district and regional farmers award. I recently received a call that I have been nominated for a national award. Later, some officials came to inspect my farms. They told me to expect a call from them. Yesterday, I received a call that I have won the national award, so I should prepare and go to Cape Coast, so I would be transported to Kumasi, where we would spend a week. Before the call, giving me information that I have won, another person called me to pay a bribe of 5,000 cedis because there are other women trying to snatch the award from me. I told him to check why I have to pay that much, and he later told me I would gain some advantage in many ways. After this conversation,
I say, na edi ade poti na me kwaji nti e wo se metu asa nti ono anhwehwem na hu ade kodi a me kwaji enti ma me ntu 50 million no okoba e no se onim ade kro no.
He called back that they made a mistake communicating to me that I have won when they actually intended to tell me I did not make it. I suspect they took me off the list because I did not pay the bribe requested.
Meanwhile, email aba me din wo mu ye mema nipa nan mema miensa oba ba ko oba ne ye mea me susu se sika na ma anya nti ena ma omo e afa me kon ho.
Meanwhile, Faustina Asamoah is calling on President Akufo-Addo to investigate the corruption which has currently bedeviled the Farmers Award. You're still watching Joy News today. There's a lot more stories coming up. Now, let's take you to the Central Region. We'll stay there because on Thursday, Director of the Ankafo Psychiatric Hospital apologized for going overboard in resolving some systemic challenges in the hospital. The scene at the Ankafo Hospital Thursday was chaotic when nurses declined to attend to patients at the hospital. The nurses accused the hospital director of disrespecting them. The Ankafo Psychiatric Hospital appears deserted Friday. Most nurses did not report to work. Richard Kojunyaku joins us from the Ankafo Psychiatric Hospital. Richard, what is the scene as the treatment center?
Well, unlike yesterday where we had a lot of relatives of mentally challenged persons trooping to the hospital to get their medication and to be treated. Today, the scene is different. I mean, the hospital is almost empty. I went to the OPD section and, I mean, I could see some 4 nurses who were sitting at a table and they were chatting. Others, I'm told that they didn't even turn up for work at all. One interesting thing that happened was that a nurse came, and then I interacted with him, and on his hand, I saw the mark of a teeth, and it was a teeth of a patient, and the patient had apparently sunk the teeth on the flesh of this nurse, apparently because they delayed his medication, so a struggle ensued, and so the colleagues of the nurses had to come in to avert the flesh from even being taken away from the hand. And so the nurse was right and was treated. So that is the current situation now. The hospital appears deserted. And I've been interacting with some of the nurses. They tell me that they've seen the apology on social media, they've read them, but they feel that the apology is an apology of an apology. And they do not think that what they are demanding is that kind of apology. All they need from the Mental Health Authority and the Ministry of Health is for Dr. Eugene Dodoi to leave the hospital. But I've also been interacting with some of the nurses who apparently are in support of what Dr. Eugene Dodoi is doing. They feel that he is a newcomer. He's been at the hospital for the past 1 year, and he's been trying to, firm up things and to stamp his authority. Some people have stayed in bungalows for a very, very long time, and they need to move out for other nurses. So others are on pension, and they are still occupying the hospital bungalow. Others are also, going to school, and he is a lecturer, and he sees these people in school without the due permission that has been granted them by the hospital or by himself. And so he sees that some of these things are not good. And so that is why he's facing that kind of difficulty.
Interesting that there's support for and against Mr. Dodoi, but Dr. Dodoi, I should say. But Richard, let me understand this. There was a nurse who was wounded because a patient was struggling with him over medication. But what we know is that the nurses themselves have refused to administer medication. Does that mean some of these nurses are going back on the decision, on the collective decision, or these are those who support Dr. Dodoi?
Well, there are some medication that are given them, but they are being applied, in not that serious manner. Unlike what usually happens. So sometimes they sit there, and then when they feel like giving them the mentally challenged patient their medication, they give them. And so this happened in a case where the medication of this patient was delayed. And there's been some instances that have started developing ever since they started the strike action, because they started all of these things not only yesterday, but throughout the week. But it was only yesterday that it got worse. And so the press or the media people have to come in to bring whatever is happening out into the public domain. So
this thing happened because of something that the nurses are intentionally doing?
Exactly. So what they are supposed to do that they are not doing. And so it is like payback time from the patient.
Thank you very much, Richard Kojonyako, for that report. You're still watching Joy News today. A lot more stories to come. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the Nungwa Senior High School is to be shut down today. The order was issued by a district magistrate court after the insanitary conditions there were brought to the attention of the court by the Lejokuku Krowo Assembly. The school is also grappling with infrastructure challenges. The Padmore House is now a death trap. A report on the structure by the Lejokuku Krowo Municipal Assembly, LECMA, revealed there is vibration within the structure whenever there is heavy downpour and movements by students. The reports recommended the demolition of the structure 2 years ago for the construction of a new dormitory. However, the students are compelled to still live there as work on the new dormitory block has stalled because of funding. Ernest Menu visited the school earlier. He joins us with what he gathered on the ground. Ernest, if you can hear me, what did you observe when you went to the school today?
All right, Daniel, so as we speak, the school is in session. In a matter of about 12 minutes, students will be out for a break. The school has not been shut down yet. And I can tell you that a lot is being done to salvage the situation, to address the situation. It's really a race against time because, as you mentioned earlier, the deadline was for them to fix it by close of day today, failing which the court would shut down the school because of the insanitary conditions. But I can tell you that I've been moved to address the situation, Daniel.
So because of these moves to address the situation, the court is satisfied?
Currently, the court is here. In fact, the judge and other court officials have moved into the school to ascertain the situation themselves. What happened was that earlier today, they sent 2 officials from the court to give a report on what has happened so far since they issued the directive. Now, the judge, we understand, said the reports were conflicting. And so she sent 2 police officers whom I met. Now, the police officers also took video evidence and sent to her. But the court was then to determine the issue at 9 a.m. this morning. I proceeded to the court, but the registrar told me they were not sitting. Then I heard that they were moving back to the school. And so I got here, the court, the judge herself, and some other court officials are here to ascertain the issue for themselves before they make a final determination. And as we speak, they're in a meeting with the school authorities, some board members as well.
Right, Ernest, so what did you observe yourself about these insanitary conditions when you got there?
So so there are 2 sides of the issue. Because it's a mixed school, we have, the condition as it pertains for the boys' dormitory and what it is for the girls' dormitory. I can only rely on reports for the girls' dormitory because I spoke to some of the students and the teachers. They tell me the condition is really, really bad. So much so that for the new girls' dormitory that has about 14 cubicles, that is where for toilet facilities, only 2 are functional as of last week. The ground floor was under lock and key, and it was only open just this week because of the situation and because they had prevailed upon school authorities to address the situation. And so that is how bad the situation really is when it comes to the girls' dormitory. However, the situation is better at the boys' side because there's a makeshift structure. In fact, as we speak, the MP for the area brought in 2 mobile toilets to help address the situation. So it is better off at the boys' dormitory, but very, very bad at the girls' side.
So the mobile toilets came to the boys' dormitories. Would you say that these students are satisfied?
And the girls as well, I should say. 3 of them went to the girls and 2 to the boys.
Okay, so are these students satisfied with these changes that they've seen in their sanitation situation since the court moved?
Well, all of this is happening between just yesterday and today. They are happy that school authorities, some old students and government officials are moving in to address the issue, but they are not satisfied. A lot more needs to be done to address the sanitation situation here, especially with regards to the toilet facilities.
Right, thank you.
It's really inadequate.
Thank you very much, Ernest Kojomenu, for bringing us that report from the Nungwa Senior High School. Let's move from that to another school in another part of the country, because about 200 students of Oyoko Community Day Senior High School in the Ashanti region are living in makeshift structures due to absence of boarding facilities. School authorities have had to convert part of uncompleted buildings into makeshift dormitories without toilets, bathrooms and even a kitchen, among other challenges. Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah visited the school in the Bosumtwe district and called for suspension of construction works on Community Day Senior High Schools. Ohiming Terrier has more in the following report.
The list talk about lack of water and electricity among concerns of students and teachers. Debetha, Oyoko Community Day School, one of the facilities built by the previous government, began admissions this year as the free senior high school program commenced. Half of the 493 students are boarders who are compelled to queue up to take their bath in batches, a situation that takes a toll on academic work. Alexander Crunchy echoes the sentiments of his colleagues.
We are facing a big challenge with this bathhouse. We were coming here, we know that it was a boarding, but unfortunately it was a day school. So the staffs put themselves together and make this project for us, which is very difficult, but we are managing it. You will stand out there until those are inside finished, and you can get the chance to move in to bath.
How does it affect your work as a student, academic work?
The time you also get the chance to bath and come back to the dorm, the time has been exhausted.
Acting Headmaster Opoku Pepra explains measures adopted to give students a semblance of relief.
About 70% were people from outside Ashanti region. So if we decided to make it a pure day school, then this school wouldn't have survived. So we met the parents and we decided that we arranged for a place for hostel. Parents agreed, and then we sought assistance from the district assembly. The DC also assisted us, and then we were able to put up a block for the girls. And when we saw that the energy was running out, we decided to use the iron sheets for the girls, for the boys temporary. So here we are. As I'm speaking with you, we have about 80 boys and 130 girls in the hostel. So for the time being, this is where we have for the boys. And then when we get the girls, we're able to grease a block for them as bathhouse, and also made a temporary toilet for them, whilst we are waiting for the completion of the structure by the contractor, so that we block the toilet for them to use the original toilets.
So as it stands now, is it the best that we can offer people, students who use this facility?
It is not the best, but what the resources can give us is what we are using now.
Some students want government to assist the school to address the numerous challenges facing the school. Crunchy Alexander is from one science student. He says students have been using unwholesome water to bath.
There are many problems that we are facing, which is lack of potable water. This water is full up of enzymes, bacteria, which is not good for our health. 2, private is no good. It's not well managed. Lack of electricity. We are in as borders. We don't have electricity. We use our lamps. Even when someone is in a prep.
Regional Minister Simon Osemensa is surprised students have been posted to uncompleted school. He wants government to suspend all ongoing community day senior high school projects and invest resources in boarding facilities for schools already running.
It is. I'm now going to look at where they cook, because they have to cook for them, both the boarders and then the day students. And looking at where we have the bathroom, I will not be surprised that the kitchen will not be anything to write home about. We have a big problem on our head. I think the government should put on hold further construction of the community day schools, and those that have been completed or partially completed and has enrolled students, the government should provide boarding facilities for them before it continues with the other ones that have been left behind or those that were stalled. Because if the government continues to complete the whole 200 without boarding facilities, there will be total chaos in this country.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohimiteria reporting.
We'll stay in the Ashanti region and talk about health this time, because head of mother and baby units at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, Dr. Jikwa Plange-Rule, is advising women to prioritize antenatal care when they are pregnant so as to reduce the incidence of premature birth, which is a leading cause of child mortality. She describes as terrifying trends of babies who are born early. She was addressing hospital personnel in Kumasi. Nana Asansi has more in this report.
Preterm is defined as babies born alive before 37 weeks of pregnancy. Complications from such occurrence are the leading cause of death among children under 5 years. World Health Organization estimates 15 million babies are born too early every year. This translates into more than 1 in 10 babies. Approximately 1 million children die each year due to complications from preterm birth. Even as the ceremony went on, the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital Mother and Baby Unit admitted 115 babies. 30 of them were premature. Dr. Plange-Rule explains.
Worldwide and in the whole of Ghana, prematurity is a huge problem. Roughly about a third of all the babies who die from complications related to prematurity. So, for example, today, roughly a fifth of the admissions, I think we have about 115 babies, and about 30 of them who are on admission for prematurity, maybe even more, because there are some here, but there are also some on the other ward. So probably a third of the babies who are admitted here come because of prematurity. And if you look at our death rates also, prematurity is a very big contributor to death.
Elizabeth Danso is a mother of a preterm baby. She shares her experiences with other women.
Oh. After
the surgery, I realized the child's breathing wasn't normal. I was downhearted. After 3 days, his breathing was normal, and I realized he will live. If anything should happen to your child, you shouldn't be quick to send him home. They can be taken care of by the nurses here.
Meanwhile, a gynecologist and family planning expert, Dr. Enes Kwakun, stresses strict adherence to Planned Parenthood guidance and counseling.
Sometimes the timing of the pregnancy may result in prematurity. And I'll give just two examples. For instance, when a baby, when a mother has delivered, we recommend that the next time the mother should get pregnant after the last delivery should be 2 years. Then also when a mother miscarries, even if she has a planned pregnancy that she's wanted and she miscarried, then we want to recommend that the mother waits for 6 months before she gets the next pregnancy. But the 2 years and the 6 months, you cannot deny them of their right to enjoy sexual intimacy. So we provide family planning or contraception for them, which we would like to see it as to enable them time the pregnancy, the next pregnancy, so that there's a healthy outcome for the mother and the unborn baby. So,
Nana Sansumensa reporting for Joy News.
And that's it for this bulletin of Joy News today. But news just coming in. An Accra High Court has set February 8, 2018 to deliver its ruling on an application filed by mining company Exton Cubic Limited to challenge the revocation of its mining license by Land and Natural Resources Minister John Peter Aimowu. Expect more in subsequent bulletins. Thanks for joining us. I am Daniel Daze. Have a great day.